happened to just drive by here, and it was a sign for sale, like, you know, a dude's sign, like not even a realtor, like a, you know, homemade sign. So it was like about 9 o'clock at night, and I told the realtor, I said, stop, 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 stop. He's like, oh, you don't want that, that's commercial. I went, I don't care if it's commercial, residential, you know, a restaurant, whatever. It's a great looking building, you know, it's Victorian. This is what I'm talking about. So I walked in and I saw the stairwell, and the stairwell was like, you know, it was magnificent. It's this koa wood, and it's really, really nice, and it was really eye-catching. And I think from that point on, I was like, wow, you know, I got to do this. I bought the house in 1995, and the house was built in 1897. In 1897, it cost $1,050 to build this house. And at the time, that was an expensive house, you know. I was like, whoa. I'm the 5th owner, and I've lived here for 11 years. When I was doing some archival research on the place, I came across some original photos of the house, like the first 3 or 4 years it was built. And it had these kind of tall, narrow doors. I wanted to go back to doors that were that period. Well, unfortunately, I don't fabricate these. So I had a guy named Bobby Horiuchi. He's not a door maker. He's an artist that just does all this amazing stuff with wood. I met with him and I talked with him about, you know, what I wanted, and showed him pictures of the house and the original doors, and just kind of let him do what he wanted. I said, look, you know, as long as they're like tall and narrow and to the period, you know, cool. In 1997, 98, I won first place for the best paint in downtown. I'd be up on the scaffolding like painting, and people would come by and go, ooh, what are you doing? That color's horrible. Why don't you paint that white? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, hey, man, you know, ever been to San Francisco? You ever seen what these places are supposed to look like? And they were, you know, really annoyed by it. And then in the end, people come by all the time now, and they want to take pictures of it and stuff. Hopefully maybe I inspired some people to get out of being, you know, white, you know, in the bad way, you know, like just stiff. It's like, loosen up, man. It's all right. A few colors ain't going to kill you. Make people smile. In this room, which is a dining room, we have a really big dining room table. And I like on Sundays to get my family together and have, you know, a Sunday dinner. So Sunday's like family day around here. And, you know, I'll do some cooking. And Mom will come over, and a couple of my brothers or whoever's in town, and have a nice meal together, you know. And just because people don't really take the time to do that anymore. I don't think. You know, in the 50s, it was all about the family. In 2006, it's, you know, society's changed so much. This is one of my favorite records on there. Look at all the dirt on that record. Too loud? Sam Cooke. First single. I bought the jukebox in Minneapolis from a guy called Pete that used to sell his vintage guitars. And I was there to buy my Hofner bass. I have a 1964 Hofner bass that I've played since like 88 or something on, you know, various Tesla records and stuff. But he had this sitting in his hallway in the guitar shop, so I conned him into selling it to me. And it's a 1933 Wurlitzer Model B jukebox that plays nothing but 78s, and it's you know, it's great. It's got this nostalgic old sound. Downstairs is more traditional, like period, kind of more deco-y, Victorian, and on the upstairs floor is a little bit more hippy-dippy, as you would maybe, you know, the Indian room and a Audrey Hepburn room. Well, you can't have an Indian room and an Audrey Hepburn room without having a Beatles room, right? Like I tell people, on the 8th day, God created the Beatles. So the Beatles, you know, they're the reason I got into music and stuff, and it was like the first record I ever can recall hearing was Revolver. From that day on, I've been a Beatle freak. This friend of mine and his wife, Darren Wood and Christy Wood, Darren's actually a singer in another band I play in when I'm not playing with Tesla called Soul Motor. They're artists, and we talked about painting this Beatles mural up in that little kitchen, and it wound up taking the whole kitchen. This room, right, is really cool, and my wife did this room for me on my birthday. I went away on tour and I came back and she had it all Indianed out. All these saris up on the ceiling hanging, and these kind of Indian pillows and curtains and incense and all this stuff. And I can sit up here and play the piano and look out the window and see people go by. And if it's a nice sunny day, it can be, pretty inspiring. Or at night, people be going back and forth down J Street, to Harlow's and stuff, and going kind of crazy, and all the street noise, and that can actually be inspiring as well. So very inspirational, this room. Sit in here and play and write songs. 56 channel Neve console that was in the Village Recorders in Los Angeles. Steely Dan recorded on this console, Fleetwood Mac among many others, and I got it about 4 years ago. Put it in the studio, built a studio around it. I had the console first and then decided to build the studio around it. She's an old Betty. She's like an old Cadillac. So it's a cruise, but sometimes you gotta beat on the dashboard. We think she's one fine mama. I built this place from the ground up in 2003. It was a parking lot. It was a parking lot in the back of my house. So I used to have a recording studio in my house. Had a bunch of gear up on the second floor, and it was right across from mine and my wife's room. And I used to keep her up till 4 or 5 in the morning, blazing guitar tracks and stuff. So to give her a break, I built this place.